Well, hello, everyone. It's 5 o'clock. We're gathered here for the Poplar Creek Phase B public hearing. We are going to give folks just a few more minutes to join. Here, we'll start the meeting at 5:05, just to give everyone a chance to get logged in. So we'll put this back on mute and start the presentation in about 5 minutes. All righty. Well, it's 5 after 5, and we'll give folks We've given folks time to get joined on, so we'll go ahead and start the meeting. So welcome to the virtual public meeting for the US 460-121 Poplar Creek section, Phase B. We appreciate your interest in the project and thank you for taking time to view this presentation. Given the unique circumstances of the COVID-19 outbreak, along with our commitment to protecting public health during this national emergency, VDOT is conducting this virtual public hearing to avoid in-person contact. This presentation will cover the same information that Bristol District staff would have shared during the in-person meeting. However, the comment process will be different. Details on how to submit your comments and have your questions addressed will be covered later in this presentation. All project information can be found on VDOT's website. The primary purpose of this project is to construct approximately 1.86 miles of two-lane highway, which will complete Corridor Q in Virginia and connect Route 460 at the Kentucky state line with existing Route 460 in Grundy. The focus of this meeting will be the Poplar Creek Phase B section, which begins near Route 604, Poplar Creek Road, and ends at the connection to existing Route 460 in Grundy. The project will include one bridge which crosses the Leviathan Fork River near the present location of Hardee's. The new construction roadway will tie to existing Route 460 near the current location of Hardee's Restaurant. An at-grade intersection will be constructed to accommodate motorists traveling west along existing Route 460 to Kentucky. Existing Route 460 will remain open to two-way traffic during construction of the project. Flaggers will direct traffic through two temporary detours along existing Route 460. The main goal of the project is upgrading regional transportation systems. Completion of Corridor Q will allow for additional economic development in the region and improve travel times. The new construction, limited access highway, will provide improvements in safety and capacity over the current routes. As the design is developed, VDOT will determine what right-of-way and easements will be needed to accommodate the construction. Property owners will be notified of the exact location of the right-of-way and easements needed during the right-of-way acquisition process and prior to construction. Right-of-way acquisition is anticipated to begin in the summer of 2021. The proposed design for the project requires approximately 390 acres of proposed right-of-way and easements. This includes acquiring right-of-way from 39 property owners. Those potentially impacted property owners were informed by letter of this meeting and given contact information should they have questions about the project and potentially impacted properties. Rick Lively of 3B Consulting Services will represent the department during the right-of-way acquisition phase. Rick can be reached at 276-880-0121 to discuss specific right-of-way concerns. At this time, the proposed design requires the relocation of all residences and businesses along existing Route 460 from the swinging bridge north to the consignment shop. Now, west of the Leviathan Fork, all the residences along Meeting House Branch are proposed to be relocated as well. In addition to a link to VDOT's right-of-way brochure, a number of documents are available on the virtual public involvement webpage that led you to this presentation. That's virginiadot.org/Poplar Creek Phase B. Please take time to review the documents prior to submitting your comments to VDOT. The project documents will be available on the website until the end of the public comment period, which ends on May the 28th, 2021. Hard copies of the project documents may be reviewed in person by calling 276-880-0121 to schedule an appointment. The Federal Highway Administration, FHWA, and VDOT drafted a document for the project to comply with the National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA. This document, referred to as the Nepa Reevaluation, reviews, updates, and reaffirms conclusions documented in the project's previous NEPA documents, which include the 2001 Final Environmental Impact Statement, EIS, and Record of Decision, which identified the preferred alternative for the project. That document was approved in November of 2001. Also includes the 2014 Environmental Studies document, which reviewed revisions to what was proposed in the original EIS. That study was approved in July of 2015. Finally, it includes the 2017 reevaluation for Poplar Creek Phase A, the quarter Q overlap Phase A section, which reassessed the first phase of this project under NEPA. The reevaluation is required due to the time that has passed since the original concepts were documented in the EIS and the changes to the surrounding environment that have occurred since that time. The reevaluation for this project matches the format and methods of analysis used for Phase A of the Poplar Creek project. VDOT is currently accepting comments on the document. Following public comment, VDOT will consider and update the document accordingly before submitting to FHWA. FHWA's acceptance of the document will conclude the NEPA effort. The current project estimate is $200 million and includes $25 million for preliminary engineering, $13 million for right-of-way, and approximately $162 million for construction. Construction will occur in multiple work packages. Therefore, not all right-of-way will be acquired when construction begins. Let's review the project timeline. We are currently in the design process, soliciting public feedback to assist with the final design of the project. Comments will be received, addressed, and presented to VDOT for review and approval. Once the design is approved, right-of-way acquisition will begin. Right-of-way acquisition is anticipated to begin during the late spring, early summer of 2021 and take approximately 1 year to complete. Construction will begin the fall of 2021 and wrap up in early 2026. Following review of the online documents for this public meeting, comments must be submitted to VDOT and received by May 28, 2021 to be considered as part of the public involvement process. Now, with this virtual public hearing, we want to review the methods by which you can ask your question. The first method is using the chat feature. So you can simply write your question using the chat function. We will then read the questions aloud and answer them in the order received. If you prefer to state your question aloud, please type your name in the chat. When your name is called, you will be unmuted to ask your question. We will turn the chat function on and off in intervals so that we can manage all the questions received. When the chat function is on, all participants will be able to see all messages. We ask that you only write in questions. The chat function should not be used for any other type of commentary during the meeting. The second way to ask your question, if you're calling in by phone, is to press *3 to raise your hand and be added to the queue. We will announce when it's your turn to ask your question, and we will unmute your phone line. You will hear, "Your line has been unmuted," after which you'll be able to ask your question. Once you've asked your question, press *3 again to lower your hand. You'll be muted again at this time to avoid echo and feedback due to the number of participants. So at this time, we're going to formally open the question and answer session. We're going to leave this slide on the screen for easy reference. So the Q&A options again are by WebEx using the chat feature, which is in the bottom right-hand corner. You can type your name or your question. If you're dialing in by phone, you can press *3 to raise your hand. And then additionally, after the meeting concludes, but during the comment period ending on May 28th, there are 4 methods to submit your question at that time: via telephone, email, regular mail, or by completing a comment sheet online at the project website. So now we'll open the floor to any questions we may have, and I'll ask Michelle, do we have any local elected officials participating in the meeting who would like to speak?
Not at this time, Preston.
Okay. Then we'll move on to any questions from the general public or any other participants. Okay, while folks are considering any questions they may have, I just want to review again the ways that you can provide your comments during this public comment period. The project information has been available to the public since April 17th, 2021. Public comments on the Nepa reevaluation and the proposed design can be submitted until May the 28th, 2021 to be formally considered and included in the public record. Again, there are 4 ways after this hearing to provide comments. You can complete an online comment form at the project website, which again is virginiadot.org/Poplar Creek Phase B. You can take the survey or PDF to print and mail it. We also encourage you to take the Civil Rights Survey, which is also located on the public meeting page. Second method is you can email your questions to bristolinfo@vdot.virginia.gov. Please include Poplar Creek Phase B in the subject line. The third method is via standard mail to the VDOT Bristol District Office. Attention Laura Beth Hale. The address is 2111 Bonham Road in Bristol, Virginia. The zip code is 24201. And finally, telephone comments can be provided by phone by calling 276-696-3322. I should mention also that an option that we provide in the standard public hearing, public meeting, is you can provide in-person comments, which we will take down to include as part of the record. If you'd like to do that, you can schedule an appointment by calling 276-880-0121. And again, the contact information for both the project and the VDOT Customer Service Center here is shown on the screen. And we'll go back up to the methods here by which you can ask your question. And we'll leave that up for a few more minutes in case anyone on the line has a question they'd like to ask us today. All right, well, we don't have any comments, chat, or anyone raising their hand right now by telephone. It's 5:20. We will stay on the line here. Leave this up for anybody participating who wants to have a question. We are going to stay on the line here until about 5:30 to see if anyone else joins or anyone on the currently participating in the meeting has a question. So we're going to mute the line to avoid any feedback. But again, if you're participating and by WebEx, you can use the chat feature by telephone. If you'll dial *3 or raise your hand, we'll be alerted. We can call on you for your question. And we're going to keep the lines open here for 10 minutes to see if we have any comments. Okay, just to remind everyone, this is the Poplar Creek Phase B virtual public hearing, and we have the floor open for any questions that participants may have. Again, on the screen, you should see a summary of how to ask those questions. If you're participating by WebEx, by the chat feature, by telephone, you can dial *3 to raise your hand. We can call on you for your question. And then there are 4 traditional ways to submit your comments before the comment period ends on May the 28th. And those are shown on the screen. All right, I think we've had someone join by phone here. Is there a question for us on the public hearing?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Sorry, we were trying to unmute your line there. You have a question
Sorry.
for us?
Yes, with respect, I was looking at your project right-of-way overview, the map
Okay.
that shows the new road going up, I guess, across the mouth of Meeting House Branch and then back up to the tail end of Meeting House Branch, to the upper end, and back over to Poplar Creek. There are some red lines that sort of follow the, I guess, the western and northern portion, and I guess I'm seeing now on the southern portion anyway. It kind of encompasses all that, the yellow, that is the proposed roadway,
Yes, sir.
and it on the legend it says property or proposed. I'm not sure. Limited access. What is
Yes, the red.
the red lines? What do
Yes.
they mean?
Okay, the red lines are proposed limited access lines. And I think the simplest way to explain that is if you think about a large 4-lane or interstate highway that has limited access, meaning VDOT is controlling the access points, meaning there won't be any driveway entrances or connections. The purple, the yellow is the actual roadway piece, but the purple is wider. That's the right of way. That's what property VDOT will own after the project's completed. That will include all the cuts in the fields. And then there's a third color, and I know it's even confusing for us sometimes. That's a darker purple color, and those are areas that we've projected to be areas of proposed acquisition. And they're areas that are typically like upslope areas that are landlocked. But once we establish the roadway and we build the roadway and we have the limited access, then that previous landowner cannot get back to that property, can't have any access. So we're obligated to offer to purchase those properties.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So sort of
we just
say
point that.
landlocked.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Can you see the screen? You're just calling in, right?
I'm calling in, and I was trying to. I'm not complaining by any means because this new technology is tough to master. But your WebEx would not let me. I mean, it said I was connected, but I never saw or heard anything at all.
Okay.
And then, of course, this way it's working. And I looked at your YouTube presentation, so I heard some of what you said through that presentation.
Sure.
I appreciate you guys doing this. I guess maybe we need to find a way that more people can participate, because I feel like a lot of folks are probably interested who are not able to to get through the technology.
Sure.
But anyway, you know, I think you've answered my question. So they're basically to clarify my question, the limited access area, that those are not areas that are proposed to be acquired by the state. They're just areas that will be limited access to the now owners, and also
No, I'm sorry. That all of that area, all of the limited access and the proposed acquisition, the right of way, all of that is being acquired for the project. The limited access, the red lines, that's where we will install a limited access fence, which is their kind of a standard highway, similar to a chain link type fence.
Yes, sir.
A wire fence, and that is to prevent people that were, say, in the woods, hiking or hunting or whatever, stumbling out upon and into the right of way. And so that's just to prevent, people from entering that limited access area.
Gotcha.
So all of that is included in the footprint of the project. But the limited access is the most narrow point, but that's actually what we fence off.
Like what we see along the interstate projects and so forth.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah. And we're installing that same type of fencing on the adjacent projects as well right now.
Right.
On the Poplar Creek Phase A, and then it's also included in the scope up on the Hawks Nest intersection project too.
Big project.
Yes, it's a very nice one for us.
And it's just a part of it. I know this is what Phase B. So thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate you guys being available.
Well, if you have any more questions, you'd like to see any maps, you can call our office in Lebanon at 880-0121. And that's easy to remember since Coalfield is Route 121. But if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me and be glad to answer anything or share any mapping that we have.
All right. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Preston,
Yes, ma'am.
just wanted to reiterate any apologies if people were having a hard time connecting to the WebEx, but the recorded presentation will be available on the project page and the public involvement page during the 10-day comment period. So anything presented tonight will be available.
Sure.
Should they have had problems connecting.
Right. And I think that as all the participants we have that were public participants, and we've gone beyond our 5:30 waiting, so I think we've given folks ample time here to join. Should we give any more time, or are you satisfied we've fulfilled our duty?
Let's just go ahead and give about 3 more minutes, and then we can hold off. We do have some folks joining us on YouTube, and if they were having any problems connecting, if they'd like to try again to join us via WebEx or call on the phone, the phone WebEx number is in the chat. It's 1-866-692-4530, and the meeting number is also in the chat, 161-634-6756. That's for the phone-in option for the WebEx. We could just give it till, let's just say 5:40. Okay, Preston?
Very good. She's getting the next one.
Justin, we do have a question in the YouTube chat area. Let me read that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. When can we expect any construction to actually begin on 460?
Okay, well, the project construction is scheduled to begin in the fall of this year, but the construction this fall would be limited to the area across the river from Hardee's. Based on the current schedule, the work along existing 460 would start in the first quarter of 2022 along 460. So as I heard the question, it was work along, on Route 460.
But it's not gonna help.
As we stated in the presentation earlier, the right-of-way process is scheduled to start in late spring, early summer this year. And that will be when our team and VDOT engages with the public. And then construction of the first construction on the project would be in the fall of this year, and then work on along existing 460 and early next year.
Okay. Apologies for issues with joining with it. The entire presentation will be available on.
Okay, do we have another question there? I think we've had some folks join us kind of late. If you've called in by phone to the meeting, if you could press *3, that will alert us that you have a question, and then we can unmute your phone. Okay, I see a question here from a participant. It's an 804 number. So if you would like to state your question, we're ready.
Yes. This is Brenda Ratliff, and I'm on the map as being 036 and 035 on the landowners.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was wondering, I'm 75 years old, and I've got to make some plans here. And I was wondering, how will this affect me?
Well, I'm going to share the documents here for anyone who may be interested, but on the project right away. But you're located at the end of the project, as we refer to you, left of the center line across the river. And in that area, the work is limited to, we're just going to mill the existing asphalt and then overlay that with some new asphalt to make all the line striping and lanes line up. So the property that you're referring to there currently is scheduled just for some temporary construction easements so that we can make connections with the driveway to make sure it matches the new asphalt. But right now, as the design stands, there wouldn't be any construction that would require relocation of the house or acquisition. So I think at that location, we'd just be reworking your driveway entrance a little bit. It may be inconvenient you a little bit during construction, but hopefully not too bad.
Okay, I was just wanting to know because, you know, I need to make plans if they were going to take the house, but if that's the case, then thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. And certainly, if anything changes, I'll reach out to you directly. But right now, that last several hundred feet there, we're just going to use, because the roadway's pretty wide, and we're just going to take the top of the asphalt off and replace that with new and make sure the lanes, you know, it kind of drops from 4 lanes to 3 lanes there in front of your house. And we're going to widen that to make sure we're using all 4 lanes. So.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, have a nice evening. Thanks for calling in. I'm sorry we've had trouble.
Preston,
Yes.
there is another follow-up question from the first question asked on YouTube about when actually expecting construction to begin. The follow-up is that their home is to be taken and they're to be displaced, and they haven't yet to hear from anyone. So I'm going to share Rick's phone number. Is that the proper thing to do for that one?
That's fine. And the answer to that question is that where we are today is the design public hearing. And this is really the first opportunity for us to officially share the project design. And this is what we call the early stage or preliminary design with the public. And we want to get your feedback. But after we end this public comment period and we respond to all the comments that we have, and then as a design build team, once that we've answered all those questions, VDOT and Federal Highways will review everything, and you know, we'll wrap that process up. But only after all that process is complete will VDOT issue what we refer to as a notice to proceed for right of way, meaning that only after that process is complete can we start right of way acquisition. In the next week or 10 days, most of the people who will be impacted by the project will receive letters, if you haven't already, notifying you that the appraisal process is beginning soon. The appraisal process is the first step in the right-of-way process for us, which helps us to assess the property. The independent appraiser will visit the property and inspect the home and take some photographs, and that'll serve as a baseline for developing an appraisal, which will become part of the offer package that will be developed. When we say right-of-way will begin in the summer, with that is when we anticipate making the offers. And so we would hope that by midsummer, you know, late June, July, August, and those timelines, we would, based on our current schedule, that's when we would officially begin making offers to residents. But between now and then, we'll be gathering up a lot of data, photographs, having appraisers on site to check everything out. So that's when we'll first start. But we can't officially make those offers until we've completed this process, make sure we've answered all the public comments and adequately addressed everything from a design and environmental standpoint. So you should be hearing from us soon. Michelle's provided you with Rick Lively's number. Rick's the right-of-way manager. If you have any technical questions, just need any mapping or anything, you certainly can reach out to me. And that number is 880-0121. It's area code 276.
Preston, I don't see any more questions in the chat on WebEx or on YouTube. So I think we are good to go with wrapping up.
All right, let's just confirm Laura Beth hasn't received any more phone calls. As long as we have the clear there, we're okay. Okay, well, thank you for anyone who's remaining on. Thank you for participating and viewing the presentation. We appreciate the public feedback. And again, the public comment period will remain open through May the 28th. After this meeting concludes, there'll be 4 ways to comment: via telephone, email, traditional mail or completing a comment sheet on the public website. And if you are on the project website, we encourage you to complete our civil rights survey, which is found there as well. All right. Well, thank you all very much, and have a great evening.